Hey, Decathlon gamer, welcome back to F1 Manager. This is episode 40. The relentless yard work continues. I've got to get back to it here quite soon. I'm just taking a quick break to throw in what I can of content. This is the only episode I have coming out tomorrow, and I'm just going to squeeze it in. Co-starring with me today, not in the camera at the moment, my nephew's dog is in here in the office with me at the moment, but not on shot, but you'll see her at some point. Anyway, we have a regulation vote on financial changes for the coming year. We are exceeding expectations. Things are obviously going well this season, much better than we were expected. Okay, so here are the financial changes that are coming up. Competitors, sure, but what? What do they have in mind? We are talking about lowering the cost cap. You know what? I'm actually perfectly okay with that because we have been well below the cost cap. And I know as we get better and better, we're going to want to spend more and more. But I think staying within the cost cap is not that hard for me. It shouldn't be that hard for the teams either. Our new front wing, the last upgrade for this year's car, is now done. We're going to of course, have to get that manufactured. But from here on out, it is all research for next year. And I have no problem with that as we have far exceeded expectations for the year. The next project is research on suspension, and this is going to cover us off pretty much for everything we needed. It's the downforce that's impacted, the low speed most of all, and we're getting back 0.26 out of a negative 0.28 drop. So just, 2/100ths is all we're going to be off of getting back everything that's going to be lost. Medium speed, though, is going to be better than it was by a smaller margin. And high speed's going to actually be a decent amount better than what it was already this year. So overall, the car's going to be in better shape in the suspension than it is even now. As we start the new season. So 4 out of 6 parts are all that are going to see changes. 2 are totally unchanged. So I actually may, on the next one, focus on potentially doing one more upgrade to the car for this year, actually. Might happen. We'll see how things are progressing. Staff upgrade, feedback from a 78 to a 79. That actually brought his overall race engineer grade from a 78 to a 79 for Jago. And see where he stands now. He is Porsche's crew chief. It's cutting it a little tight for us, but the next project we wanted was the factory, and we do have enough cash to make it happen. 13.7 right now. It's going to cost 11 million. This will also bring us back up from barely over half condition and get it back to full. Project capacity for manufacturing will go up to a 4. We actually can't even do anything with the new wing at the moment, but development speed is going to go quite a bit faster. Speeding those projects up also makes it easier to fit 3 into a 3 window, but the window expands anyway to 4. So for us, that's obviously going to be helpful, useful going forward. Monza is mostly about pace. Pace is still not necessarily our friend. While it's gotten much better, it's more competitive. I do think we'll be more competitive as a car, especially in those fast sections. But Monza, I mean, it's all about pace, and we just don't necessarily have that. Top speed, definitely not our thing. How did we do last year? 12th, 15th. And this is where the car was starting to get competitive, right? The upgrades, the late season upgrades were onto the car. And we still managed just 12th and 15th. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if we are barely competing for points in this race. That's fine, though.
Welcome to Life in the Fast Lane. We're here at Monza in Italy, the home of Ferrari. But who will take home the points this weekend? Let's find out as we get started with the Italian Grand Prix. Monza, a centurion among circuits, dripping with motorsport history. Expect to see cars fly by, as 80% of the track is tackled at full throttle. It's not all go, however, and brakes can be prone to overheating through the tight chicanes that Monza has to offer. With the season nearly concluded, time is running out for the teams. Can anyone make a last-minute breakthrough? Can the leading drivers hold on? Only time will tell. stay right here, because we're just getting started.
As I prepare to head into practice, that is, Porsche, of course, driving alongside doing FP1 all season long. He's getting better. He's still ahead of Porsche. Porsche, I think, is slightly catching up to him to where they'll be level with each other pretty soon, which will be nice, having them grow together and having them actually compete with each other. They'll get better faster as a result, being competitive. Even though it could lead to headaches for me at times, I think it's a good thing to have two drivers that are similar, that have similar pace, that can run side by side and overtake each other on a regular basis. We've already seen how the mechanics of the game works. They develop faster when they are engaged in overtakes. They have the same car, for the most part, race by race. And that combination can lead to a lot of overtaking and defending and growth. And on rare occasions could lead to a crash together. But we've been lucky with that so far. We've yet to have one here late in Season 2. But anyway, 2 upgrades. The front wing obviously just got done. We haven't even started manufacturing on it because I didn't have the open spot. But the side pods that were done a little over a week ago, the first one is going to be ready in the middle of this weekend, but I won't have access to it, or maybe I'll have access to it for FP3. We will see if that is the case or not. I'll take a look when I get to FP3, as it was supposed to be one more day, but it's not ready now. So that's at least 2 more upgrades for this year's car. So that's exciting. Car part knowledge with the other latest upgrade is at now 97%. So we'll be up to date on those here by the end of FP1. Coming up on the end of Q1, and neither car got a clean lap in, not once but twice. Porsche, a little bit better off. Let's go ahead and send him out a little bit earlier, and then we'll wait on Albin and try to catch the end. But yeah, neither one could get a clean lap in. Like I said, Porsche's was much closer to a clean lap, maybe a tenth of a second, maybe nothing. Maybe he did get through cleanly, but he currently sits P8, just behind Verstappen, who clearly didn't get a clean lap himself. But Albin, both times, massively impacted by other cars on track, all the way down in P15. He'll be the last one crossing the line. We've got 10 seconds as he comes around. Oh my, that was close. That was close. And, we clicked just after Porsche. Yeah, he barely got the lap in. Boy, they really stretched to the last second here at Monza. Oh, just checker flag. I thought they were calling a mistake there. Okay, Porsche down to P9 for the time being, ahead of both McLarens. That was a little unexpected, as they were pretty quick in practice. They were around P9, P10 throughout practice. We're ahead of them. That's a good place to be. And we've already got at least 3 cars behind us. Porsche moves up 1 spot to P10. And here comes Albin around that final corner. He is currently out, but with that nice clean lap, he gets up to P12, and that is enough. And my oh my, do we have a close field from 8th to 15th is very close. 1.5 tenths through almost half the grid. Once again, we are not going to get a clean lap in, as we've already hit Verstappen. I think we got past Verstappen in place. Russell, it's going to be close. No, he's going to impact both cars there through the chicane. And then Gasly's going to hit us on the last chicane as well. Not so much Gasly. I think we were okay, but Russell very much was in our way at the wrong place, wrong time. See what our times are like. We are ahead of Guan Yu Zhou and Vettel, both AlphaTauris. Half a second behind Hamilton, ahead of Norris. So maybe not too impacted there. Maybe we did manage to get by. That was used tires for that first run. And do I want to try to squeeze in another? I'm not going to squeeze in another. We're just going to get ready for the final run here. Final 4 minutes of the session, and we stand in P6, P7. Almost best of the rest, though Gasly is ahead of us in the Alpine, though Ocon is also further behind. It really could go either direction. Gotta make sure not to wait too long to get out here. Go ahead and have Albin go first this time, and then Porchera will go second, see if he can get the toe. Come in at the end. A little close to Bottas. I don't like how close to Bottas he is on that one. But otherwise, we'll definitely get this in time. Session underway. Plenty of time left. Still 20 seconds. There's more than enough time. Zhou goes ahead. Ocon goes ahead. We are going well down the order. Albin's still ahead of Norris. And Ricciardo. Porchera currently P14. Albin on the bubble. Albin up to P9. Porchera P10 ahead of Albin. Bumping him out of qualifying. Are both out. Vettel still has not crossed the line yet. But he has. Vettel already has. He's the front runner. So he crossed with, a second left on the clock or something. And technically could be running another lap. But there you go. Porchera, for the first time, out qualifying Albin, in particular getting to Q3, where Albin does not. That's the first time we've seen that. Final 4 minutes of Q3. I'm saving what we have in tires. I mean, I really didn't expect us to get to Q3. So we have our fresh set that we get for Q3, and that's it. Porchera is going to make a single run. He does have a nice little gap there. Is not the last one out. Really, I think we only have a chance at catching two cars. Ocon and Bottas, potentially. Alright, here we go. Porchera underway as we head down the pit straight towards the first chicane. Good so far. That's what our sector times look like. Pretty healthy gap ahead of us. Here you don't really want that. You actually want the toe. Just spend so much time on the straightaway. Green in sector 1 though. Obviously it's going to be green. It's our only run. Everything's going to be green. We'll just have to see where our lap ends up. Perez is behind us. I worry about Ocon because he got to go last. 0.908. Not good enough to move up. That's going to be a P10, P11 for the team. But that's where we want to be. Right there in the thick of things. Just on the edge of the points. On a track that's very speed dependent, and that is not our strong suit. It's really not. So for us to even be near the points is a good thing, and the fact that we are due heavy rain for the race, well, we already seen where that can take us. Sainz on pole ahead of Verstappen, 5 milliseconds.
Tension continues to build here as race day begins.
Qualifying went well for Williams, as attested by their strong position on the grid. Now it's all about finding that edge for the race itself. These past few days, Ferrari have been absolutely thrilling their fans. Now let's see if they can make the Tifosi proud by capitalizing on that grid position. The weather is very overcast here, and teams are staring at the sky watching for the first sign of rain. Strategies might have to be quite flexible going into today's race.
Well, this is going to be one thrilling Italian Grand Prix, and we're nearly ready to kick things off.
Expected outcomes for this race is light rain for 4 laps before it becomes heavy rain, downpour, easily wet conditions. It will lighten up around lap 40 as it will actually stop raining for a little while, but it should not get any worse than intermediate conditions, though that is quite a few laps. So there is a chance that the rain could dry out enough to force intermediates, but then it's going to get heavy again and go right back to wets. So realistically, the best strategy is to run the softs, which can just about make the 17 laps that they need to. They can go about 19 to 20. And then the wets will easily make it to the end of the race, as long as they don't overheat massively during this period. So we'll have to see how quickly the track is drying out, knowing that there could be a pretty good break in the showers, in the heavy rain, in the downpour. And that might mean a stretch on intermediates and then back to full wets. But that means 2 pit stops. 2 pit stops to gain that chunk of time. And I don't think it's going to be enough. I think the big issue, though, is the wets overheating. If they overheat, then the tire life will not last. But if you're losing 2 seconds a lap over, we'll say 8 laps, 7 laps, you're going to lose 14 to 16 seconds. But 2 pit stops on either side of it is going to be a lot, especially at this track. We're looking at a good 40-something seconds where, the trade-off is 14, 15, 16 seconds. It would definitely be worth it to stay if it doesn't destroy your tires.
It's a somewhat overcast day for the drivers, who've now taken position on the grid. Here's Williams. A top 10 position today, but will they be able to capitalise on it? And then we've got Alex Albon. They might not be in the top 3 spots, but things could change fast once the race gets underway. And we're just moments away now. Here we go. It's the Italian Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
I have to get back to work as soon as possible, and I've already realized that I made a mistake right off the bat of not going aggressive and pushing. Now, last race, I thought I had said it. This race, I just straight up forgot. Because I'm in a hurry. I have got to get back to work outside. Good news is we are right where we started, which is P9 and P10. Bottas, with a penalty, started further back down the grid. He was the one who qualified just ahead of us in P8. And then 1 or 2 other cars were carrying penalties as well. I think Russell was one of them, but he's still just ahead of us in terms of qualifying. Or that's where he was. I don't know. Sector 2, yellow flag. Big wreck right ahead of us. Big wreck right ahead of us. Albon, I do not know if he got stopped in time. I do not know. Multiple cars have crashed. We are through. Looks like he has no damage. No damage.
We're just watching the Red Bull.
Red Bull runs wide and smashes into Hamilton. I don't know which of the 2 Red Bulls that was. Perez was on pole, so I'm guessing that it might have been the 2 that can't stand each other. That, say that they're friends. They like each other. But
VSC.
It was Verstappen. Okay, VSC. Definitely no pit stop here.
Keep pushing.
As we make our way around during this virtual safety car and Hamilton into the pits. So that's going to move him back, and Verstappen also into the pits. Both damaged. Really surprised Verstappen has not picked up a penalty there. Runs wide and then drives right back into a car. Well, okay. Back to what I keep trying to get to as we're about to have the virtual safety car end. I've got to get back outside. So for the first time in 2 seasons, I truly need to kind of just push on.
Use DRS.
I need to push on. I'm going to have to play the game faster. No real ×1 stuff unless it's, last couple laps. I've got to make this race happen a little bit faster than some of the other races. I've got to get back out. I've got to get my own work done before the heavy rains come. In the race, we have plenty of heavy rains on its way, and I have plenty of my own heavy rain on the way. Let's go aggressive and push. Let's see if we can't close that gap. There's no DRS at the moment, but there's going to be DRS. And actually, it looked like they had somebody behind me. Looked like they had flap open on that last one. Is that the case? No.
Fastest lap.
We had it for a moment. Vettel reset it a moment later. And yes, I thought I just saw the flap open. Well, anyway. I think I already mentioned doing some Omega yard project. Clearing out the debris. I've already made 7 trips to the recycling center with sod. And I've got about 1 to 2 trips left. And rain is rather imminent. It hasn't rained in months, but it's supposed to absolutely pour. I've got to finish it before. So I am rather exhausted, body quite tired. Porsche not where he needs to be, still more than 2 seconds back. Told you that my nephew's dog was going to make an appearance. This time not an appearance, on the other side of the door actually. And Albin has made it around Guan Yu Zhou. That's good, that'll give us a little protection there. And then
Lico
he
increase, please.
is in a better state fuel-wise and tire-wise, and then he could push on and pull the trade. Would be the way to go. Okay, so that is Albin now to the front. So let's push on with Albin for a little bit and drive a little more aggressively. With that BSC, we did gain a little bit. And we have multiple cars crashing.
Car run wide.
Sonoda
Multiple
has
cars,
crashed
I
into
think.
somebody.
Let's see what happened there. Now just focus on the house.
Braking himself. Taking out the Aston Martin? He does. In the braking zone.
no!
Oh! Big secondary collision on that one. "12 seconds behind Leclerc and Sainz. They've got a bit of a gap. Perez, after his bottling it there for a little bit, now 4 seconds back. Gasly is 7 seconds. Russell, Ocon are 9, and then we are at 12. And we've got a big grouping of cars. I mean, it's just 31 back to here. So pit window wise, it is just Verstappen, Sonoda, and Stroll. Verstappen appears to be off the pace a little bit. Between having the softs and the ability to push a little bit, it's not too hard to get the overtake on Zhou. You can see how we're very quickly back ahead of him. Go ahead and go back to balanced. Let Albin drive off on his own. Open that gap a little bit. Give us a little cushion when that rain comes. And in that pit box we have, things could go poorly. And we are planning on going full wets when that time comes. Let's go ahead and speed things up, as we have about 6 laps until the rain should be coming. Porsche all the way to the back of the group now, P10. Well, not the full back.
Further rain expected.
Still have the McLaren
Got
behind
it.
us. And here comes that rain. Getting close. Porsche's case, I don't mind actually. I want him to conserve. The rain is coming. Stand full laps, be aggressive, but conserve. He already has the ERS, but conserve some fuel. Might as well. And here you go, 4 minutes. 4 minutes till the expected rain. Yellow flag, sector 1. DRS is disabled. Virtual safety car. Leclerc runs wide,
Sophia,
and then
see.
what?
Copy.
Can't pit now, it's too early, the rain hasn't come yet.
Yellow red.
Definitely not lap 1. Let's see what happens with lap 2. I'd like to see what happened. Leclerc 6 seconds behind Sainz, but that wasn't... I don't think that's the race incident. Oh! Wet weather. Wet weather. It started raining early. It started raining early, folks. I'm hoping the VSC lasts long enough while we're still on this lap. Albin, 2.6 for his stop. The double stack was fine. Porsche gets out. Neither one impacted. That's good. We're going to come out P8 and P10, it looks like. And 3 cars have not stopped yet. They're going around again. We'll push on the out lap because of those 3 guys. Albin is going to come across Bottas first. Everybody else is pitting. Sonoda has not. So Sonoda stays out. Alonso, the only one who goes for the intermediates. He'll be faster for a couple laps, but that's all. And then he's going to be having to pit. Okay, those other three are into the pits. Albon had not caught them, but he leaves two of them behind and is now up to P6. Pourchaire up to P9. Bottas only comes out on intermediates. And already, there's your 4 millimeters. Full wet conditions. So Bottas and Alonso, the Alfa Romeos, are going to have to pit again. With the correct strategy calls. Looks like we're very much in the hunt for points. And then we'll see how things happen as the track dries out later. And who opts to switch to intermediates. Like I was saying pre-race, my prediction is 2 pit stops are going to cost you roughly 40 seconds. Where switching to intermediates is going to gain you maybe 15, 16
Someone's
seconds.
run wide.
Verstappen running wide on turn 6. Not his day. We'll just keep an eye on things. But in the meantime, putting our head down and just getting to work. Running P6, P9. Ocon's a quick one, so we're going to have to watch out for that, but I think we are just about faster than everybody else. Pourchaire's got a 5-second advantage over Norris and is close to Ocon and Zhou. Meanwhile, Albon was close to Leclerc, but he's losing that gap now, and Leclerc is probably going to make his way up and past Gasly eventually. That's who will be sitting behind, I would think, but Gasly hanging with Russell. The Alpine is definitely quick. Sainz with a hefty advantage after Leclerc's mistake. And those two, by the way, were double stacking anyway. They were really close to each other. Remember, they were 1 second apart, so the Ferraris couldn't come in together. And you can see Sainz, the one who benefited. And that brought Leclerc all the way down to that P5. He's pulled away by a couple more seconds on us, but we've got over 5 seconds on Guan Yu Zhou. Ocon has been passed by Guan Yu Zhou, by the way. Definitely wasn't us. Sonoda with the lockup. He's already down the grid quite a bit. Bottas and Alonso starting to make their way back forward, but only P16, P17. Huge mistake for the Alfa Romeos. We caught up and passed them with that last race, so they are behind us, I believe, in the constructors right now, and they don't look to be scoring points. Alpine is going to be scoring more points than us, but we pulled ahead a bit after that last race. Well, really, the last 2 races. Lap 31, Gasly pitting. Track. Wait a second. Already, lap 31, and then it's supposed to dry. Boy, do I split strategy? Maybe I split. Pourchaire's further back. Or we stay out. This is earlier than I expected it. I figured it would be somewhere around lap 34-ish. And that it would only last for well, no, here's the thing. 7 laps, right? There's 4, 5, 6, 7 laps. 2 seconds a lap. We're staying out. We're going to watch the last lap times. See just how bad it gets. Right now it's P5, P8. Front 4 all pitting. Sainz comes out ahead of us, but we are up to P2 and P4 right now. And our times, we are running 130s, 131s. Okay, it's 2 seconds compared to these guys. 2.5 almost. Now P3 and P7. They're all going to have to pit again. Sector 1, yellow flag. P6, P8. Going backwards.
Sounds like someone's locked
Fettle
up.
with the lockup. Oh,
That's a
that
position
advantage got
gained
worse.
for
And it's back to
AlphaTauri.
full wets. Up to P5, P6. That was the thing. I
think
knew it wasn't going to
someone's
last
run
long.
wide.
It was 5 laps. 5 laps was it.
Is that a lockup?
We were well off the pace. But the tires withheld. And we're all the way up into P5 and P6. It was too short. It was too short of a period to change. I saw it. I recognized it. We were slow. It was more than 2 seconds a lap. But it was only 5 laps worth. It was about 3 seconds a lap. Over 5 laps, that's 15 seconds. But we are on very used tires compared to everybody else. So they are going to be faster than us. But that should do it. Heavy rain. It's going to lighten up right at the end, but no reason to change there either. So, yeah, full wets to the end of the race. Full wets to the end of the race. And you can see we took a bit of a dive in the tire wear. You can see the tire wear increased. It did increase during that period where it was a little drier, but not drastically. On where everybody is interval-wise. Signs 10 seconds clear. And we're not challenging him. Perez 4.5 seconds back. When he gets closer, we can defend. We can try to keep him at bay, but he's probably going to get... It's 12 laps. It's 12 laps. We might be able to hold him off. Made the right call. But, again, we're now at a tire disadvantage. But we have less than 10 laps to go. Perez with the lockup. That backs him up a bit again. He's down to 4 seconds behind. Or back up to 4 seconds behind anyway. Sorry that things aren't as cinematic as they normally are. But we're just cruising at ×2 speed here. 3.3 for Perez. We are holding him a little bit better this lap than we were on the previous laps. He's only gained about 0.2 of a second on us, I think, where he gained nearly a second on the previous lap. If that's the case, he'll be up on us in about 4 laps. 3 laps to defend, hold him at bay. But again, the aggressive and the defensive battery to deploy. 6 laps to go, buddy. Can't even get on with the ERS at this point. That's down to P6. And Leclerc is also coming. We might have to just settle for a P7 with Pourchaire. Defend with Pourchaire as well, as he's been caught by Leclerc. He's already a second and a half behind those guys in front of him. Everybody around us is much faster than we are, but we're still looking up the grid compared to where we were. Half a second ahead of Perez, and that's been that way for about 2 laps now. Without the engine, that's going to be much harder. Leclerc only about a 10th closer to Pourchaire, so we are holding Leclerc back. But we have a huge gap behind us, so if Perez gets by, Perez gets by. And there it's gone.
Okay.
Neutral. And Leclerc is just 0.3 of a second behind Pourchaire.
Still lifting coasting.
That's probably going to do it. Side by side through the Curva Grande, and that's it. He goes past. Okay, go conservative. We're not going to get him back. We're not going to get him back. 2 laps to go.
Okay, we want to increase lift and coast.
Don't make a mistake.
Okay.
Keep that podium. Get third. Third's okay.
Can't afford to drop back.
Yes, okay.
Pourchaire somehow still holding off Leclerc. Leclerc had to drop back
2 laps to go.
when he could not make his overtake
Okay.
succeed. We have no battery left, so all we have is this. For Albon, turning the engine down at this point, it makes more sense to conserve. Put enough fuel away to see the end of the race.
Spin.
Leclerc with the spin! Pourchaire, that will take care of things. Go ahead and go conservative
Caution,
also.
increase, please.
And standard. Okay, so that'll be a P3 and P6 for us
Okay, back
as
off.
we begin the... Alright folks, here we go. Final run. Right to the end of this race. The one-stop wet strategy did work out for us, mostly. Faster cars came along. Sainz takes the win. Perez, one of those faster cars. He gets by, and he is going to cruise to second place.
And Sainz crosses the line first.
But where we
He's
were,
taken the win.
what, 6th and 9th? 6th and 10th? We're going to end up getting a P3 podium.
That's the flag.
Russell's going to take
You
P4.
guys did it when it counts. Thank you.
So he got around
Copy,
Gasly as
nice
well.
job, nice job.
That's good for us. We outscore
Okay,
Alpine. Both of the Alfa Romeos failed to score points today. In fact, 16th was their highest finish. Gasly's going to pull in P5, and Porsche is going to complete
Okay, second flag.
P6 for us. Yes, we lost 3 total positions between the 2 cars. Post pit stops from everybody else. But we absolutely made the right call. It put us up the grid. We just ultimately were slower down the stretch, but it did create a net gain for us. A significant net gain. And like I said, we gained 3 positions for Albon. We gained 4 positions for Porsche. Leclerc finishes P7. Hamilton, after taking damage, getting wiped out by Verstappen, takes P8. Ocon 9. Verstappen back up to P10. And no penalty for him. Lucked out, otherwise he very well could have been even further back. Happy with the podium. I'm out of time though. I gotta get going. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.